Sonic X Shadow Generations is interesting to me, and it's not because of all the new stages, powers, or the story. At this current moment, Shadow Generations is really interesting to me because it feels like it's the first time that a mainline 3D Sonic game has had this much positivity and overall positive reception since the original generations. And I'm not just saying that, it feels genuine. It's not like Forces hype where people are like just desperate for a new boost game, but it feels like true excitement. But why is that? What makes Shadow Generations so different? So I want to go over the game's marketing timeline and specifically what makes this game so different compared to the past Sonic games. So let's start off at the beginning of 2024. A leaker goes on to describe basically the entirety of a PlayStation State of Play, and one of those games that was gonna show up was a Sonic Generations remaster that has something to do with Shadow. The general reaction to this was mixed, but a majority of what I was seeing was basically, why do we need a Generations remaster? Everyone didn't seem to understand why Generations was getting remastered when it was already available on PC and Xbox, ignoring the fact that it's not on Switch, PS4, and the PC port kind of sucks, and that they could have just remastered Unleashed or, God forbid, Heroes. Not to mention that the last remaster, Sonic Colors Ultimate, was disappointing to say the least, so expectations were very low. But a few days later, the trailer premiered and the leaks were true. We were getting a Sonic Generations remaster. But halfway through the trailer, we got to see Shadow Generations. We got to see a short 30-second glimpse of Shadow's gameplay on the Ark and the Bio-Lizard fight. Now, after this trailer, there were many thoughts like, oh, it's just gonna be Episode Shadow Part 2. The level design looks like Forces. Oh, it's just cyberspace again. Oh my god, is that Doom? The animation looks so much better. Oh my god. It was a whiplash to say the least. Now, after the trailer, we had a 6-month wait for the next one at Summer Games Fest. And in that time, people were picking apart every little detail that they could from the 30 seconds that we had. It was also confirmed that the producer of Sonic Forces, Shun Nakamura, would be directing this project. And if you don't know, he was quoted saying this about Forces boost levels.
Press and hold the button to attack, so you can really enjoy ultimately just dashing like a maniac through the stages.
And in between all of that, we got an announcement of a Shadow prologue animation, Dark Beginnings, so that was something to look forward to. Then, after 6 long months, we got the Summer Games Fest trailer, and we got to see way more gameplay with new stages for Shadow Gens, including Rail Canyon and Kingdom Valley, which was the one that everybody was losing their collective shit over. Now, after this trailer, the reception of the game started to lean to a bit more positive side. And sure, there were still some queries and worries, and the, occasional this game still looks like Forces stuff. The game looked way better, and this is where we got the confirmation that the hub world would be a Sonic Frontier style open world, which I called, by the way. No one fucking believed me! But what really sealed the deal was the playable demo at the event. We got a hands-on, full demo of the entirety of the Space Colony Arc level and the Bio-Lizard fight. And everyone spent days analyzing the gameplay. And the more we got, the better the game looked, and the more and more awesome it seemed. It was at this point where a lot of my worries personally were put to rest after Summer Games Fest, and this is where the reception of the game really started to lean towards the positive. A few weeks later, we got a look at the prologue, where we would find out that would be a 3-part mini-series delving into not only the events prior to the game, but into Shadow's past. And also a personal plus for me, it will be taking heavy inspiration from Neon Genesis Evangelion, one of my favorite enemies of all time, so I'm very excited for this. Then, again, a few weeks later, we got a trailer comparing the old stages to the new stages in Shadow Generations. And by this point, a lot of the complaints that I could find personally really just boiled down to small nitpicks like the rail switching animation. Maybe something just looked a bit weird. But honestly, the fact that the biggest problems that we can muster are small nitpicks is just a huge testament to how polished this game looks, which we'll get to later. Over the following weeks, leading up to Gamescom, we would get different tracks from the game like the Arc and Kingdom Valley, which are both bangers. And then the day of Gamescom at 10 a.m. we got the most recent trailer of Shadow Generations, which was by far the best trailer we got, showing off a bunch of Doom powers and a bit of the open world, new stages, and Neo Metal. As we are speaking, the hype of the game has reached unprecedented peaks. So now we reach the present day. The game is about 2 months away, and I've seen this game going from mixed to being discussed as one of the best games in the series potentially. Now you may be wondering, oh, but Sega has done this before. Just look at Forces and how everyone thought the game would be peak and it turned out to be mid. You're just stupid for being excited for the game. You shouldn't be excited at all. Seriously though, if you try to make people feel bad for being excited for the game and call them stupid, genuinely fuck you and get the fuck out. But if you are still skeptical seriously and you're wondering why this reception around this game is so different, well, when you boil it down, it really comes down to 2 reasons: confidence and polish. Let's start with confidence. Marketing is a big thing. Sure, the marketing started off small, showing bits and pieces of new content, but as we went on, they showed more and more, and they're being pretty generous with how much they were showing, like showing off the main abilities and gameplay mechanics. One big example is the comparison video, where we got an extended look at 3 stages. We got lengthy gameplay of each, including a small bit of the remixes of each stage. But for me, the biggest thing was the Summer Games Fest demo, where we got the full level of the arc with no cuts. It's the full level beginning to end. And I made a whole video basically comparing this level to the first level of Forces and Mortar Canyon. But if you want the Cliff Notes version, Forces levels suck because of the reasons listed on screen, while the first level of Sonic X Shadow Generations is 5 to 6 minutes long, has level design that actually engages the player with limited automation, with alternate paths that reward the player's skill and incorporate Shadow's chaos abilities, and halfway through the stage takes you to Radical Highway. It is safe to say that this stage looks 100 times better than any Forces stage combined. When we look at Forces, they were deliberately hiding the level lengths, not to show how short the levels are. Like when they showed off Sunset Heights, they only showed 40 seconds of the level. Little did we know at the time, that was basically half the level. They used really cheap marketing tactics, like saying this game was made by the people who brought you Colors and Generations, when in reality, the game really just had 3 level designers, neither who worked on either game. And they even went as far as to basically bait us into thinking that we're gonna get Shadow and Chaos fights to try and get that easy adventure bait, when in the game that just never happened. This game's marketing was so insecure that they basically had to hype us up using false advertising. So the fact that they're willing to show us all of this and let us dissect every little thing so we get a clear idea of what we're getting with Shadow Generations is a major green flag. Next, polish. I love Frontiers, but that game has a big issue with a lack of polish. But if we look at Sonic X Shadow Generations, let's just list of the little details and increases in polish in the game. Shadow's shoes have air vents, since they're rocket shoes, that makes sense. His quills move out of the way when his arms go back. The quick time event has 2 separate animations for the different phases of the QTE if he fails. The animation is a massive step up from Frontiers. Poppin' was fixed. Shadow's chaos control has a really neat after image. Shadow's collecting little Doom logos, not really polished, I just thought it was neat. And the game has the most expressive and dynamic ranking system animations, with the camera even moving with Shadow, which has not been seen in any other game from my knowledge at least. Just to name a few things off the top of my head. There is so much attention to detail put into this game that wasn't present with past Sonic games. Now we look at Forces, Sonic doesn't even have an idle animation. He just stands there like a statue. Not to mention the pop-in. In Mortar Canyon, you can literally see the enemies pop in right in front of you. And the automation that is so prominent in the game just doesn't work sometimes. When looking at what we know about Sonic X Shadow Generations and what we know about Forces, the polish is on a whole nother level. Even looking at something like Sonic Colors Ultimate, which was another remaster, the game here at the very least looks the same. It doesn't look touched up, which is a whole other issue, but at least it's not ruined. And still, we're still getting a crap ton of new features in base Generations, like child missions, quality of life updates, the drop dash for both modern and classic for some reason, which is just a cool addition. And we're even getting different options for controls, like the legacy controls if you want to play with old controls, or if you just want lives, they are giving you the option to add lives back into the game. It just feels like they're putting so much more care into this remaster than Colors Ultimate. Even if the game doesn't look graphically different, you can tell that there's more care put into this one. So yeah, that basically sums it up. Sonic X Shadow Generations has way more positive reception than most Sonic games just because the game oozes with confidence and polish that we haven't seen in a past Sonic game since maybe Mania. This game is kind of similar to Frontiers, where everybody was skeptical at first, but as more trailers were shown and more gameplay was shown, the game kept looking better and better. And it's the same thing with Shadow Gens, but like tenfold. That's why everyone's so excited without having to worry about a catch-22, because the game really gives us no reason to be worried. And yeah, I can't not wait for this game. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys liked, make sure to subscribe, comment down below. Are you guys excited? Tell us what you think. Maybe there's something that I missed. Maybe there's another reason. Maybe you just don't care and you're still gonna be skeptical, which is fine. But again, like I said before, don't make this pissed me off so much. Do not make people feel stupid for being excited for the game, or don't be like, why are you excited? That's stupid. That's so miserable. How could you be that? I can't, man. I'm gonna that's a whole, that can make a whole video on that. That's like, that pisses me off so much. But yeah, I'm very excited for this game. I hope y'all are too. But that's really all I have to say for today, ladies and gentlemen. Hope y'all enjoy. I'll see y'all in the next one.